All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the CCP panel. I want to introduce the panelists from left to right. We have Dr. Eyjólfur Guðmundsson, our lead economist. HLMAR Sveinsson, creative director. Thank you, Nathan. HALLDOR Fannar Guðjónsson, chief technical officer. Nathan Richardson, executive producer. HLMAR PETURSSON, chief executive officer. Torfi Frans Ólafsson, senior producer. Noah Cedar Ward, lead game designer. And Ryan Scott Dancy, chief marketing officer. Do we have any CCP devs in the audience? Doesn't really look like it. One or two. All right. Can I get a volunteer to come and man this post here to take questions from the audience? Is there anybody that can do that? That'd be great. Yeah. I don't know. All right. Awesome. Thanks. So, without further ado, let's get started.
I want to say something. Can I get one volunteer to bring Hammerhead a beer? Anyone? Anyone? Just one person. Just one. Yeah.
All right. So the way this works is that these guys are up here to answer your questions. So you can just line up here towards the microphone, not too close, so that the person talking can have some space, and try to keep your questions not too long and to the point. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Taijin, CEO of the HLMAR Corporation. Not really a question, it's just something to try and get me out of customs. Because last year at the party, I had Concord Customs after my asked most of the party and it wasn't good. So I've got a present.
Yay!
HLMAR, I need you to collect this from me.
He has a present for you.
It's Romulan ale.
Oh, gin.
Thanks, Matt.
So, HLMAR, I give it to you every year, and it's for you and the devs, not just for Nathan. So, stay away from it. You had enough that first year.
Yeah.
However, Nathan, on the pub crawl last night, normally we usually see a pink elephant. Unfortunately, elephants are banned. I did find something else that seemed to know you, and it came with a friend as well, so I'll give you a present.
Now what?
This is fun.
It's beautiful. It's a horse.
Thank you, guys. I love Eve. I love coming to the Fanfest. Let's hope it goes on for many, many years. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Hi there, Jinx Denton of Retail Corp. Will Dust be coming out in a PC version at any point?
So, what we're focusing on is to build a first-person console shooter, and that is a different experience than doing a PC shooter. And we're very focused on that. That brings certain elements which we have to emphasize and optimize for. And what happens after we have really delivered that is difficult to predict. I mean, I would be speculating at this point. But we're laser focused on bringing the best possible first-person shooter console experience we can.
On that note, we'll be able to get like a EVE Online themed PS3?
We haven't announced any platform details on what specific consoles it's going to be at. So I can't really answer that, but that sounds like a great concept.
Okay, thank you.
Rise Nia, also Veto Corp. I am an alternative operating system user. I asked you guys questions about this last year. I'm doing it again to represent the 1% of us out there. And I realized that for business and strategic reasons, you had to discontinue Linux support. I'm okay with that, but I just hope that in the future you'll remember that not everyone chooses to use Windows, and that there are going to be more operating systems out there in the future, and if you consider, we'd like to see support for that. So thank you very much to the 1% of us, which, there we go, there we go.
Actually, the sad truth was it was less than 1%. It was actually
more
abysmally
like 1
low.
promille.
So we were actually really sad to actually have to discontinue Linux support, but sorry, we tried there for quite some time and nobody came.
Yeah, and it also was like, okay, we need to focus our efforts. And what we saw that Linux users are quite crafty, and people just figured out various ways to make Eve work on Linux anyway. And our particular implementation of it didn't gain a lot of traction. So people were still playing on Linux, they were just using other means. So we could better focus our efforts on the platforms which were gaining traction in terms of our solution. So it really was about, again, focusing our efforts on what is being used.
We also do know that a few hundred people log in every day using Linux today. Just yesterday,
yeah.
like 300 people logged in using Linux.
So
I actually know which one of you that was.
Red Lantern, Black Sky Ink. The stuff for Dust, who's building it? The weapons and all the tanks, armor, utility modules
Do you mean what persons?
Yes.
Will
Which
Eve
side is
players be
building
manufacturing those? Is that the question?
it? Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Who's building it all? Us or them?
okay, remember the picture of the guy that hates sandcastles? We're being very careful in how we connect the games. We will start with the basic premise that Eve players contract Dust Messenger to conquer districts on planets. From that basis, we will then grow based on what people are doing, just as we've done with any feature in Eve. Certainly what you propose is an exciting proposition, but we can't, and we won't really, because we're CCP, we won't really create an open-engineered full feature solution. We will start small and meaningful.
I'm not going to over-engineer.
I probably was throwing stones out of glass houses there. But we're certainly, what you propose has been talked a lot amongst the various, both the teams, but it's really about doing something which is a seed that then grows based on what people want to do.
Okay. But yeah, do you guys want that? Would you like to build tanks and shit?
Yes. Yes.
You will.
Well, we're the people who make the money in Eve, so we build the stuff and sell it for expensive prices. But you can also make it so it's cheap, so that startups, so newbies can build the stuff, if you make it very easy.
We can pretty much do everything we want, so.
Yeah. Okay, thanks.
But yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's a meaningful way to actually connect the two worlds, and we'll do it if it makes sense and it's fun.
I have actually 3 questions, but I think most of the people will be interested in all of them, so I'll ask them. First one is, in the presentation you have made, there is, you show only one planet. How do you propose to consider the possibility that some player of Dust can migrate from one planet to another? Have you considered this? How do you manage that? Also, I was hoping that you might find a way to give meaning to the militiamen or freedom fighters that we sometimes happen to find and that are useless. Anyway, how do you manage to connect, to move the players of Dust from one planet to another?
Jump cloning.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's a special new cloning technology.
All right.
It's being introduced in Tony's next book.
All right. Second question is about updating. You said that you want to maintain the two games aligned and you want to them grow together. I was wondering how you were thinking to upgrade, to make an incremental upgrade of a console game. It will be. I'm not very familiar with console games, but usually you just release. They are just one shot. They are harder to patch. How do you plan to do that?
Yeah, I mean, traditionally, just to explain, traditionally console games have been shipped on a disc, and the disc is the game. You can't really change it. This has changed with the current generation of consoles. Both the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. You have even examples of things like the Grand Theft Auto, the latest episode, being released just in a digital format in the first version. So, Dust is of course breaking new ground, but we're very fortunate that the platform makers, Microsoft and Sony, have both actually opened up this possibility. So we will be able to digitally deploy this. However, just looking at the logistics of everything, it is very likely that we would ship it still on a disc, but then you can get add-ons, expansions, you could actually download those.
All right.
And this is also maybe perhaps a thing which wasn't clear either, is that we're not only taking the kind of world gameplay over to the consoles with us and our experience, but we're also taking how we actually do games and that we stick with them and that we continually develop them. So Dust will not be a single thing in a box in a store. This is actually a service as anything else that we do, and we will be expanding it over time.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I would like to emphasize that. I mean, the new console environment is allowing us to put this out. If you would actually reverse back a few years, it actually wouldn't work for us, because we need to be able to improve, tweak, and make better.
All right. Last question is just more than a question, is a hope for the future. As far as I can understand, currently Dust covers only contested areas on planets, at least as far as if players are concerned. I was thinking that maybe in the future you might want to consider to open up more possibilities, for instance, for explorers to explore unexplored areas of planets, something like that. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's outside of the scope of Dust specifically, but exploration is a huge part of the EVE universe, and we will definitely be expanding on that.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Ford Hakata. I'm in Blade. I have 2 small points. I have a little thing for you here. It's a message from our hearts in Blade.
You have a little thing for us?
I have one for each of you.
I'm intrigued, actually.
I have one for each of you. It's a heartfelt message from all of us. But first, how many of you, raise your hands, play EVE regularly, yourselves?
I don't do it anymore. I don't have time,
okay.
and I disable my...
Well, you'll get this anyway. Dear beloved neighbors, you guys, we wish you a successful clone upgrade. This is for you. I hope you appreciate it. And if you see us ever someday, then make sure your clones are upgraded. And then another question, very quickly, on behalf of our sister alliance, Panda Supremacy. They are Chinese, all of them, extremely cool guys. But during the Great Purge this summer, or whatever you guys called it, a few of them had to go.
Yeah,
this was bad.
So the question is...
The question is, what do you guys do to reduce the false positives when you find out who to kick out of the game or not?
We thoroughly go through the data. Maybe Ayo can actually go into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let me log in. Can you hear me? Yeah? Now you can hear me. We have a specific process that if there is a petition about a false positive, we go into the details of that person. We look at all the accounts, we look at the interconnections and what that person is connected, etc., and make sure that there are no false positives. And of the petitions that we have had, there have been very few false positives, but if you feel that there is somebody, please let them file again and ask them to look into it. So we look at each and every one individually.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I can't remember the exact numbers, but the false positive number was very low. It's better than a healthy negative.
Folks, just a reminder, when you're asking questions, to make the sound engineer's life a lot easier, if you could eat the microphone, stay within an inch of it. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, a false.
Hi. It's Dr. Vitok from Eve University. I've got a question just about the same thing. Is when the big purge happened, CPU load dropped from what we've heard this week. Thank you very much. But the question is how much resources is actually put into Eve itself from these macro miners, and what are the profits that they're taking away from us? And what other resources are they taking away from us in lag time and everything else?
In terms of overall turnover, we estimated that they had about 10% of the overall market value. But that's only the open market. The biggest impact that they have is that they break the general gameplay that you guys like to do, and they obscure the prices for certain items. We saw the implants as an example, where you saw the prices double once they were left out of the loop. So I would say that the impact that they have on the gameplay is relatively minor, just like any other illegal activity in any real-world situation, but they might impact individuals at a higher level, and the congestion in certain systems is definitely one of those problems. Now, that has been taken away, and we are consistently working on making sure that it will continue to stay that way. Now, with regard to the resources as such, it's difficult to estimate exactly how much resources they were using, because they were also using it for themselves. So we really don't have an estimate on that.
I told you, Nathan, getting an economist was a good idea. I told you.
A ruthless economist.
Hello, Fishkill Stalker, Infinity Enterprises. First off, fucking brilliant. Secondly, one of the things that I personally love most about Eve is the community interaction and the fact that everything is linked up. With the integration of Dust into the ecosystem, shall we say, will we still have the same community input as the people who essentially are running the bitches on the planet to really control what's going on in both environments as far as with ISD and things of that nature, again with the panels?
Yeah, I mean, in fundamental ways, we will be running Dust as we are running Eve. Cross-pollination or promoting synergies as a boss does between the two, that will happen. And then there is a certain level of like discipline coordination. So like all the community teams are still part of the same team, even though they're running different products. But yes, you will be able to affect each other, most certainly, because I mean, it doesn't really matter where a good idea comes from.
Yeah, but it's a little bit still, like if you think of this, you're running an army, and you have the Marines and you have the Air Force. The Air Force can't really be dictating what the Marines go about their business. The Marines know how to run business and blow shit up. The Air Force knows how to be in cocktail bars and look fancy. And so there will be, we will try to emphasize that distinction, where the Dust mercenaries are their own community and they have their own pride for their game. And even though this is interconnected, it's not about sort of adhering to some lowest common denominator for both. We're going to look at it as like listening to the Marines about what they want to do, and to the Air Force, and later in the Navy, and the PSYOPs, and all the different things we might add.
Excellent, cheers. By the way, my liver hates you, but I love you.
We love you too.
My liver hates me as well.
Hi, I'm Cosmic Raider from Conflagration Wildly Inappropriate Alliance. I have a couple of questions about sovereignty. Really like the concept of, make it better by using it. Specifically, I'd like to know two things relative to that. First is, will we be able to build defenses, gate guns, etc.? The second is, if we are moon mining, will we be able to improve the rarity of the moon mining?
Both of those will probably come, but not in Dominion. So we've had a lot of back and forth about the defenses, and we do want to have defenses put up around things like guns around gates, but it still remains to be seen. But probably not in Dominion.
Will we be able
based
to,
on the next month of playtesting.
will we be able to Sinojam?
Will you be able to Sinojam? Yes, you. I'm not exactly sure what you mean by the question.
Will we be able to use Sinojammers in the new
Yes.
SOV?
Yeah, with the new SOV. You'll need to buy an upgrade that will allow you to do that, but yeah, you'll still be able to use Sinojammers.
Okay, my second question about SOV is,
you have to stand closer to the mic. We can't hear you.
understand that we'll be able to go in and place markers down or beacons in order to contest space, and understand that there will be a time that goes along with that 12 hours or whatever. If we blow up those markers, will it require 12 hours before another one can be placed, or can they be placed immediately? And also, relative to placing those markers down, can any player place as many in all the systems every day, or will there be time limits on and quantity limits on the number of markers and where they can be placed, et cetera?
Okay, that sounds like two questions, but you should be able to plunk one down immediately following destroying another one, but you can only put one per system, so you can't just spam the shit out of the space with the markers.
Okay, thank you. I've had an awesome time.
Yeah,
and
you
it's
could
an awesome
you
day.
could spam multiple systems, but you can't put 10 of them in the same system.
Roger that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Torellis, 22nd Black Rise Defensive Unit. A while ago you mentioned about NPC 00, and I was just wondering in Dominion, is there going to be anything to do with that, or is it a later date?
Well, I mean, you'll be able to upgrade your space and get more in...
In NPC 0? In NPC 00?
No, not in NPC 00, sorry.
Okay.
No.
And a bonus question from this man here. He wants to know where he can get some good threads like yours.
Sorry?
A bonus question from this man here. He wants to know where he can get some great threads like yours. The costume.
Cosplay, it's gonna be big.
And one last thing, if I don't do this, my CEO will kill me. The 22nd Black Rise Defensive Unit is recruiting. We need Titan pilots.
Vendran from Vito Corp. I just wanted to ask, one of the most important things to us as pirates is ransoming, and that will the Dust 514 battle barges actually be in space within EVE when they're transiting, so we can find, scan them down, and ransom them for great success?
See, you're clever. We thought about this too.
We're still negotiating.
Yeah.
It's up in the air right now.
I'm sure that the negotiation will go better if he gets a beer.
But keep in mind that the connection... Keep in mind that the interaction and the connection between the games is meant as an iterative process, just like the games themselves. So what you may not have at the beginning, at launch, you may have later on.
No, but absolutely, I'd say that would be very EVE.
The first thing you want to do when you hear about it.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, I want to blow them up. Yeah.
It really does play into the importance of preserving the integrity of each game at launch, making sure that Dust's economy is kind of segregated from the...
You got a beer, shut up.
On a tangent, but thanks.
No, we don't want to grief the shit out of the Dust players like on day one.
Hey!
You're fired. Maybe a little bit.
Next.
I'm Zalota from the Collective. I'd just like to say cheers to everybody. Cheers. And I'd like to thank you for creating a great game. It's like, it's been with me for 5 years, so basically I have two questions. Number one, you say you have, 50,000 planets in EVE? Okay, 50,000 planets.
Yeah,
How are you going to...
50,000 planets in EVE.
Yeah. How are you going to integrate that into Dust? 50,000 planets?
Yeah.
And well, you're gonna have one guy on a planet and another guy on a planet
Yeah,
fighting,
yeah.
or
That's a very meaningful planetary interaction right there.
Two balls interacting.
Yeah, but you must realize that a lot of the planets like have too much gravity. You can't walk on them. Like the practical planets and the planets that really are meaningful to battle over aren't that many. Even though there are 50,000 planets, obviously not all of them are populated. They don't have the
like the gas giants, right?
Yeah. Habitable.
Yeah.
Less than I think we've listed less than 1,000 that are actually habitable in the game right now, but that's open. That's a list that we compiled a long time ago with the storyline team.
Yeah, and also, like Torvi said, this is about fighting for infrastructure. So if there isn't any infrastructure on the planet, then there's no need to fight over it. So the number of meaningful planets to fight over is much lower, and probably going to tie into the Tamagotchi SimCity thing that Torvi is adding to Eve. What actually are planets that people care.
Inspired by SimCity.
Bukake. And my second question is, when are we going to have a Dust 41 Fanfest?
We haven't.
14, sorry,
we haven't thought that far ahead. We only think like a couple of days.
We do stochastic planning.
Yeah.
All right, Rias Nia back for Veto Corp. Cheers. All right.
So is there like 700 of you here?
No, there's only.
Or are
100.
you just all loud and obnoxious?
Yes.
Yeah, I love you guys.
There's 100 of us in the corporation. 25 of us came this year.
That's impressive. Awesome.
No, two serious questions. The first one is, out of the Las Vegas meet, there was apparently something really cool called corruption. Are you guys? I mean, I know you guys love it. We love it. We're pirates. We're totally into the idea. So
we're pirates.
Spill your guts.
So, like, you're basically saying that you're pirates and we found corruption in Vegas.
Yes. No, I believe Martini.
We pretty much did. Yeah. No. The thing is that we had kind of like a game design session, and we did some brainstorming, and the teams all pitched their version of an expansion for Eve. And one of them was around corruption, and some of the guys that were there actually are here as well tonight, and you can grab them. And I think the corruption one was the one that actually got a lot of traction with everybody that was there. And personally, I found it quite intriguing and interesting and on-turning, highly on-turning. But the thing is that it's quite massive to actually implement. But I think it was really truly Eve because it was dark and brutal, and it's, you know, Las Vegas, hookers and blow, you know. No, kidding. No, but yeah, I mean, really, yes, the corruption proposal was really good. And I think we should probably just send it out. It's nothing secret with it. Everybody can see it. I'll just blog about it.
No, I wasn't in Vegas, but I heard there was also a lot of cool ideas on kind of incentivizing low sec that you went into, and these
that was corruption.
That was corruption.
Yeah.
Okay, very good.
Well, there's another half to it.
If I would have been there, I would have known.
Okay, but yeah, you had two questions actually, and there's a lot of people waiting.
There is, and the last question is a very simple one. Even though I'm never going to buy a console, when does Dust come out?
When it's ready.
It's pretty soon, isn't it? So,
yeah, it's soon. I hate using soon. When it's ready. Kind of like, you know, some games like Duke Nukem.
No, not like Duke Nukem.
Nothing of the sorts. When it's
One
ready.
of those. At
Yeah.
premiere.
Yeah.
One of those cues.
Your question, please.
Hi, I'm the Slayer with Goonswarm. Couple of questions. First one is, both the PS3 and the Xbox are a few years into their life cycle. What happens when the next console comes out? I mean, the Xbox, PS3 have some backward compatibility, but they've both proven that games from the previous console can't always be played on the new one.
Yeah. So, as you've seen with the work we've done on the PC, we kind of have the same cycle there. Graphics vendors will come out with new cards. We went from a single core chip to multi-core, and we've had to adopt to these changes. I mean, the Eve game you're playing today is quite different from the Eve game you had in 2003. The same will apply to Dust, and that's why it's so important for us that the console makers themselves they're also starting to understand that this is the future. Software more as a service instead of a one-time off, you go to a store and buy one product, play for 3 weeks, and then you're done. So yes, I mean, it's part of our commitment when we have, you know, we'll have a sizable install base, and then it goes to show that we will then, of course, introduce a new version of the game on the newer platforms. The only things that I can state as a CTO or technical issues are that, of course, the platform providers themselves have certain rules about what you can and what you cannot. So, of course, we will have to adhere to those rules. But I'm telling you, though, that this is a groundbreaking product. And so I do believe that we will be able to do what we want to do as CCP and as for the player base. Because it only makes sense. It's good business for the people that make the hardware. If we tell them, hey, this is what we want to do, it's going to allow our title to live on and grow, and then they'll say, yeah, sure, we want more money.
I also strongly believe that when the next generation of consoles comes, which I'm not even so sure when it's actually going to happen, because I mean they're doing fine and they still haven't unlocked all the potential that they have.
Yeah, this cycle is going to be longer than the previous one.
Much longer, but then again also, I strongly believe that they will have a certain amount of backwards compatibility even when you actually move to the next platform. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's the opportunity to do that, but still, it's in the spirit of CCP to take advantage of the new hardware.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
we would be committed to actually making a totally new, rad, even better, awesome-looking game on the new platform.
Yeah, both the PlayStation and the 360 realized that since it didn't have strong backward compatibility, they basically had no titles at launch. So they're not going to make that mistake again, I think. But okay, yeah, next.
And second, one of the Dust 514 slides earlier said that the major complaint from the EVE community about Dust 514 was that they didn't want to pay 2 subscriptions. I think you've considered doing some kind of, if you have an EVE subscription, you will get a cheaper Dust subscription type thing. Or it comes included with your nice shiny EVE subscription and you don't have to pay any extra. Sorry.
To play Dust won't require a subscription. The game which we're making is something that has a different pace to it than EVE. It's something you can jump into and have fun. EVE is a very long engagement. You play it for years, and you plan and strategize and build up. That fits very well with a subscription model. It's that type of a game. When you have a game that's more about jumping into the action, there is another business model that fits that much better. So we're custom tailoring the business model around that. So there won't really be a fixed subscription required.
Thank you.
But I mean, also worthy of mention is that I mean it is a different business model, and there might be a subscription which you can subscribe to, which includes certain amounts which you just want to pay for regularly. But that's not a required thing. So.
Kyoko Sakota of Vito. Just wondering if, hi guys.
Bit closer to the microphone, please.
Hi. I'm just wondering if there's kind of character RPG elements in Dust, since there was some talk about cloning technology or something. Is that part of the game as well?
Yes. There is character advancement.
Yeah, we're taking the MMO to console. We're going to show these guys how to do this kind of fucking shit.
Yeah.
And it's also important to note that Dust is its own MMO. The connection to EVE is not required for it to work as an MMO. There are persistency elements to it. There are character advancement elements. But again, those elements are custom designed around the experience of being quick to get into, instant gratification. Like you want to blow off some steam, you go into Dust. You want to conquer the universe, you go into EVE.
Yeah, but that being said, also, it is a realization of the EVE universe in a console environment, in an FPS environment, and we're trying to stay very true to the core of what the EVE canon is. You know, we have Tony Gonzalez, we have all these people that have their heads stuffed, almost bursting at the seams with EVE knowledge, making sure that what we create is really something that the hardened EVE Online player will say, yes, this makes sense.
You mean like We Mine and stuff like that? It's going to have awesome character progression.
Hi, I'm Snapper Australis.
with the Dust 514 and the EVE Online interplay, you can have the corps in the same alliance, but will you have members of Dust 514 and members of EVE in the same corp?
That's what we're thinking about in the future, like we showed on the slide earlier today, is that if it makes sense in the long term, it's probably not going to be happening from the first time, from launch, but if it makes sense in the long term, we would like to see that happen. I think it creates stronger bonds on both sides of the game and provides even more meaning to you actually playing either Dust or EVE. But the first step is really that alliances join other, well, not join other alliances, but like bondage.
But it's also it's also the idea, what is a corporation? If we want to expand the concept of corporation to include both Dust Machineers and PC strategists, then we really have changed that, and then we need another grouping to build the cohesive units that we want to build. We want to have the Marines together, we want to have the Air Force together. Whether we bring them into a squadron or corporation, company, what the terms are, there will always be this concrete grouping that we want to create like separate communities that interact, rather than blending it together into one gray area. There's going to be contrast between the two.
Also, will the EVE characters be able to descend onto the planet and become a character in Dust 514?
No. No, because the pod pilot is not a mercenary, and the mercenary is not a pod pilot. There are two very different characters in the EVE canon.
Yeah. And if you really want to see, I mean, the pod pilot, then he gets incarnated, or she, in Incarna. So that's really, you know, when you're in the space stations, that's where you will be able to experience the pod pilot, you know, as an avatar, but not in Dust.
Yeah, Dust Mercs are immortal warriors that just want to die, so.
And no, Dust Mercs will probably not be clearing out your corp hangar anytime soon.
We have about 10 minutes left, so 4 or 5 more questions.
We can finish the row, that's fine.
I'm going to interrupt
There is
before
a
the
cutoff?
row,
Oh,
because
sorry.
I've been asked to. The live agent missions, the last final mission will be in about 5 minutes in the lobby. So anybody postpone it, they want to get their food too.
You're asking the wrong person.
Yeah, okay, so next. Fast,
You're
fast.
right, my name is Thierry from Duty, or the Happy Spaceman. I was wondering about this New Eden project. I was wondering about the amount of write access we're going to get to from outside the client, because it seems that it's a good way to use bots to muck around in the market.
It's undetermined, and we are quite aware both of security and, of course, the ability to actually script and automate stuff. So this will be a very careful process of actually opening that up. And, you know, I think that in many cases we'll just say, no, we're not going to do it.
It's a very fine line when we're providing these services. On one end, we just really want to empower you, both to give you access to as much data as possible and empower you to create the greatest applications in the world. But that would require all of us to like own these little ponies and ride on rainbows if it like be perfect, because there's a lot of bad people out there. So it's constantly a balance between security and like availability, and it's it's the same thing with the browser. That's why we're like not enabling Flash from the beginning.
And the only kind of answer to the Dust 514 name we've seen is this obscure Bible reference. Has there been, you know, a reason for the name yet?
We're not going to tell you, but there are certain...
We're
EU
following
players
it
that will
closely, and we've seen people,
People are getting pretty close.
Yeah.
Getting warm.
There is a reason.
Cheers.
Hi there, I'm Silk from Wildly Inappropriate. 2 things really. Firstly, one of our FCs is giving away his nicks, so I'd just like to say, Hachu, give me your nicks. Sorry. Secondly, it's my first Fanfest. I've been in the game 2 years now. Really good, great support, and I know everyone's looking forward to Dominion. Personally, I need to be booking time off on the 1st of December. Keep up the good work.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks. Keep in mind that there will be some downtime, though. We are patching, so don't...
Hi, I'm Misa Anuncia,
Wait,
Roots in Kings Alliance and CSM member. I have a clarification request. During the presentations, you referred to Incarna as a new product, incoming product, just like you spoke of Dust.
Gabe was drunk, it's okay.
It's an upgrade, or it's...
No. It's an expansion.
Free.
It's a free expansion.
Absolutely.
It's an expansion to Eve. Yeah. Gabe was just thinking about the hamsters, I think.
Okay, second thing still about Incarna, just like rigs were meant to be optional thing that you tag onto your ship, will Incarna be a required element to get actually the most out of your PvPing activities?
That's a great question, thank you.
Now, so you don't have to play Incarna, just like you don't have to play mining, or you don't have to work the market, or do industry, or invention, or whatever.
To be competitive, sometimes you have to.
You might gain an edge by engaging in illicit activities with people that are off the grid in Incarna, yes.
I was really political. You might have to. Yes.
Hi. Dark Medico of the Vanguard Alliance. I'd like to ask about...
Closer.
I'd like to ask about when you put the POS system into place, when we were in Empire, you made certain considerations like the charters that we didn't actually have to worry about in other places like nullsec.
Yeah.
I'd like to ask about the planetary interaction. Are we going to see any kind of considerations that we don't normally have in nullsec that we're going to have in Empire or in lowsec or in NPC nullsec?
Did you get the question?
It really remains to be seen.
Yeah.
So we're gonna start developing on the planetary interaction stuff after we push Dominion out. So, I mean, we've got high-level goals for it. If you guys saw Ali talk about Scrum yesterday, you know how we do expansions. Maybe you can just look it up on YouTube if you didn't see that one. But yeah, I mean, we're really focused on Dominion right now, and it sort of really remains to be seen how the planetary interaction feature actually.
Yeah, I mean, but I think generally, I mean, there will be a difference between being an Empire and lowsec and...
Of course, the paradigm will extend there.
Yes,
there will be less potential for griefing in Empire than there is in lowsec and zerosec.
I mean, the fundamental security system is still in place, so that will actually affect everything else as it does. So.
Okay, thank you. I just want to say it's my first time here, so absolutely loving it. I'll be here next year. Thanks again.
Thank you for coming.
Great to have you.
Attender member of the Collective Corp AAA. I've been wondering, why don't you have Dust on PC? Because like a lot of us, we get Eve bored sometimes. And then I tend to go to games like Battlefield and games like that. So why can't I just change over to Dust and play that?
Well, as I said before, we're focused on creating a console first-person shooter, which is a different thing than what you talk about. And the reason why we did that instead of something else was to look at what are the people the least likely to play Eve as it is today. And I think that segment, console first-person shooters, have like the most diametrically opposed behavior than from Eve players. And it's about widening the reach, giving more access into the Eve world. So we took the extreme in that direction. What will happen once we have done that? I mean, we might do something else, but that's really the focus. We're trying to find the people least likely to play Eve as it stands today, while still enjoying a futuristic sci-fi universe with all the awesome things that Eve has within it.
And my second question, when are you going to upgrade the background graphics of the game? You have these awesome spaceships and awesome stations, even the asteroids looks nice. But when are you going to have new background graphics that like looks
The nebulae. We're working on it. It's we're just taking one part at a time. It's actually quite cool. The new simple things like the stars that we're adding in Dominion actually soften out the nebulae a lot, and they add a lot of mood to the background. It's less about pointy stars. You know, it kind of reminds me of Galaxians or like some old arcade games when I think about it. But we are definitely working on it, and our art department is committed to it.
Yeah, so essentially the technology is already there. It's just we've been trying to find time to slot it in with all the other stuff that the art department is doing. So yeah, like Torvi said, we have the stars already that have been shown at Fanfest, and the nebulas should be coming soon.
Yes, this is my third Fanfest, and I want to thank you. It's always getting better, so keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Vendrin from Vito again with two quick questions. The first one is, will planetary interaction be available in Whiskey Space?
Perhaps.
Okay. And the second quick question, I totally forgot because I've had too many beers.
Awesome. Thank you.
Wiener here from Collective Corporation. Woohoo! I was wondering, in Dominion, will the insurance be fixed like PvPers on Vagabonds pay maybe 170 mil for it? They get maybe 20 from the insurance or something like that. Like I checked out the Tengu and insurance 18 million, so it's pretty pathetic.
Yeah, that's intentional.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
no changes are coming in with.
Okay, but another question. Torbe was talking about some blue cheese, attractives, rats and stuff.
Attractive blue cheese?
Yeah, will it work on goons?
Sorry?
Will the cheese work on goons? Can I attract the goons to me? Yes. Yeah, he's just right here.
See, he's already being attracted to you.
Yeah.
It's good.
Okay, good. Keep up the good work.
And you have the pleasure of the final question.
Thank you for doing this panel. Aaron Palatine, Goonfleet. Thank you, gentlemen. One request, one quick question, theoretically. The background that you gentlemen have playing behind you is fantastic, and there's been a lot of love for it so far. Is it possible?
Yeah, we
could
play
get
Eve on this.
Is it possible we could get a release of that, a screensaver or some other type of
That's actually a
video?
good idea. Though.
That's a question for Ryan.
Please. And my
Yeah, the graphics team that produces the videos that you've seen all weekend long, they love doing this stuff, and to the extent that we can get this out to the public, we'll totally do that. We'd love for you guys to have this.
Thank you. Here at Fanfest, the dev team always really gushes about how much our input is really valuable to you guys. Can you, each of you, or maybe just a couple of you, give us some examples of things that you've heard here over the last couple days that you've really liked? No specifics really needed, something just that you're going to take away from us. Thank you.
I think that this year has been more like general inspiration. I mean, it fires me up and drives me the following year. Just being at FanFest and just sucking it all in, and it's, I don't know, it's fucking amazing, and I can't really describe.
And I would also say, like, unfortunately, me and Nathan don't get to participate in the roundtables and the panels anymore. We're busy doing other stuff. So, I mean, it's the general inspiration, certainly, that keeps us strong. But it's really the communication with the people that directly do the work, which is important. Like, we have a designer, we have a programmer that's working on something specific, talking to the people that actually use it on a day-by-day basis. That's really the valuable feedback. Us, who don't really work on anything specifically, the feedback is always more general for us. So, I mean, it really, what Noah felt on the roundtables.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was in 8 roundtables, and we got a lot of good stuff. I actually emailed myself some of the ideas so that I could remember later, because I think I'm going to lose some brain cells this evening. So.
Yeah, and actually one of the questions just earlier is that actually I did do some work the other day in Vegas, found some corruption. But no, that's maybe a better, like, solid example of how promoting synergy, having a group of developers and players together, simply like totally just brainstorming of like what would be cool to do, and one of the suggestions was this corruption thing, and it was pretty awesome. I had never seen that angle before. Simple as that. So it varies from affecting us to totally just bringing up new aspects of the game.
Yeah, and I mean,
Don't
concrete
forget
examples. Yeah, concrete examples as well is just, you mentioned the nebula. I mean, that just hearing stuff like that, it helps us with priorities. It just means that next time we have to schedule the art group, we'll just say, I mean, come on. People are always hassling us. They want this stuff. We're at FanFest. They're talking about it.
Yeah, okay, so I have specifics.
So, yeah.
I pulled up the email that I sent myself.
Yeah.
And one of the things we talked about was a squad tag in your fleet, so you could have your name and which squad they're in. So that was a thing. And people wanted small web drones. We talked about formations quite a bit. We talked about subsystem targeting. So, and, you know, pages and pages of notes as well. So.
And of course, CCP works like quite a katamari and has a tendency to gobble up players and make them employees.
So I mean, yeah, I think maybe in general terms, it's really the conversations that are happening all the time, and really, even though the idea isn't new, it's just like if 10 people discuss this same point with me over a period of 3 days, there's clearly some signal there, and you get some like confirmation of what you want to achieve. What are you gonna? No, hey, hey, let's party.
Since I have a mic, I just want to say I fucking love you people, and I can't wait to party with you and like talk about Eve for the rest of the evening. You don't get wasted.
Thank you very much. Thanks for coming to
thank you.
Iceland.
Thank you all very much. Thank you guys. It was amazing.